Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to show you something awesome that I'm super excited about. So for this image here, I really wanted to do fairies and mushrooms and make my baby shower theme really come to life. So I'm creating custom cookie cutters, and what I'm going to show you today is how to outline something like this. That seems kind of impossible because there's so many crevices here. There's clearly not a black outline. I'm going to show you guys how to do it and how to make your vision come to life. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take the image, go to edit, and we're going to go over here to the Magic Studio portion and select Magic Grab. From there, we're going to select our brush over here. We're going to put it at a smaller size so that way we can really outline everything. And then we're just going to start going. Once we've got everything outlined, we're just going to fill in the dots here. Everything that's colorful, you want to go ahead and make sure that you fill it in. We're going to up our brush size pretty good so we can have a lot more to work with. Once we do that and everything's filled in, we're going to select Grab. This is going to leave a shadow behind your image. So once we do that, we're going to move this to the side, and you can faintly see a shadow here. We're going to click that shadow, and we're going to click Edit again. Once we do that, we're going to scroll down, and you should see Effects. Click Shadows, and under that, you're going to see Outline. Click Outline, and there you have it. Magic. And so I did do this previously as well, and you can see that I connected these lines up here, so I'm going to show you guys just how I did that. So to connect these lines, because this right here will not make a good cookie cutter, it's too skinny and it will not come out of the cookie cutter if you make it. Same with this, same with this might be okay, but we need to connect all of these lines. So we're going to go over here and go to Tools. So we're going to go over here to Tools, select Draw, and then select Pin. Make sure that it's black, and then make sure that your weight is no more than about 8 or 9. Then from there, we're just going to connect everything, making all this nice and easy for a cookie cutter and for your dough to come out of your cookie cutter. Now that we've done that, we've got all of our lines nice and connected here. That way this whole thing is going to be a nice smooth cookie cutter. This here is going to just be a nice line when we do our cookie cutter. The real art is going to come in when we finally decorate the cookie, and I think the best thing for this specific cookie cutter is going to be decorating the background completely before actually drawing the image onto the background, before actually decorating. So that way you have a color behind it. So what we're going to do next is we're just going to save this as Fairy Outline, and we're going to download it. Once we download it, we're going to go to Convertio so we can convert our file to an SVG. Drag it over there. Now it's in. We're going to select to SVG. Convert the file. And then once it's done converting, you're going to click download. Once that's downloaded, we're going to also head over to Tinkercad. Once we are at Tinkercad, we're going to go to create a 3D design. And then we're going to import a file, drag our file over, and you'll see our outline right there. We're going to change the dimensions to about 100 by 100. It's going to import this into here, and you should see the outline that we just created. Now this is a cute little outline, but what we're going to do to make this better is we're going to select this here and go to fill mode, and now we're going to create our cookie cutter. Fill mode to a silhouette. While that's changing, I'm going to change my name to Fairy Cookie Cutter. Now that we've got a beautiful outline here, we're going to start really making this cookie cutter. We're going to do outer line first, and then we're going to go and change everything here. So the height of my cookie cutters, we start out at a 1 because this is the bottom layer that we hold. Quality is always going to be bumped up. And then the line width here, this is going to be how big the holding part is, where you push down on. I don't like mine to be that big, so I'm going to put mine at a 2. If you want a bigger place to push your hands down on with more structure, perfect to do a 5 or 3 or whatever you're comfortable with. Now that we've got this here, let me tell you guys real quick, I don't like to resize my images because it stretches everything out weirdly, right? So what I do is I leave it the way it is. Then when I've saved everything, I resize it in my Cura software. So now that I've got this here, I'm going to go ahead and press duplicate up here. Now it's duplicated. We can't see it yet, but we're about to. So we're going to change the second part of this. Now we're going to create the height. Mine are about a 12. So we're going to keep that there. The quality is already the same, and it's already at an outer line, but we need to change that to an inner line. Awesome. Now we're going to change the line width. For me, I like them to be nice and thin, so that way that cookie cutter can really cut. So I'm going to put mine at a 1, and now you guys can see that we've got ourselves a fairy cookie cutter. Even though this may not look like an actual shape yet, once you make your cookie, it's going to turn out great. So now we're ready to export the file, and we're going to select STL. This is going to be different for everybody depending on what software you have. I personally have a Cura with an Ender 3 V2. Once we have our file, we're going to open it, and it does take a minute for the Cura software to open. And from there, we can resize our fairy cookie cutter to the amount that we want it to be. Now that we've got our cookie cutter on our building plate, we can move this around and create everything that we need. So now we're ready to resize our image. So we're going to go down here to scale. If you have specific parameters you want to put in, go ahead and put it in. We're going to keep this at uniform scaling for right now, but the Z-axis is what we made for our cookie cutter to be this tall. So we want to keep that at 12, but what we're going to do first is resize this to how we want it. Normally a good size is anything over 100 and around. Everything's going to be like every dimension is going to be different because of the cookie cutters that you're making. So you just play around with that and do what you like to do for this part. But me personally, I like my dimensions to at least have one of the 100s in it and like close to 80 something. Anything like 60 to 70 is going to be too small of a cookie cutter, to be honest with you. Really, it just depends, because you can always make mini cookie cutters, and if that's your thing, you know what I mean? So now after we've resized this, you can see here that the Z-axis goes up when we resize it. So we're going to bring this down just a bit, because I think that 115 is too big of a cookie cutter. So we're going to bring it to like a 106. Then we're going to deselect uniform scaling, and we're going to put this back to 12. And that's going to put our height for our cookie cutter back at 12 instead of all the way up. Because if we were to do this at, let's just say 20, you see how it raises the height? That's why we're going to change this part here back to what we originally set it at Tinkercad. Then we can click uniform scaling again and make sure it's all to our liking. Once we do this part, we can go into our settings here. And this, I have a specific setting for my cookie cutters. And I will just scroll through this part slowly. If you are wanting to look at it, you guys can slow down the video or pause on these parts, okay? For the build plate adhesion, I'm going to put a skirt around the cookie cutter because the skirt helps me measure my filament before I do my printing. I don't actually measure my printer anymore like I used to. I just use the skirt to measure everything. Alrighty, and once that's done, we're going to select slice, and that is going to be the end of this tutorial, you guys. I really hope that y'all enjoyed it, and I cannot wait to see and hear about all of the cookie cutters that y'all are going to make in the future. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe for more in the future, and I really loved hearing how much you guys liked the last video that I did, which was my popcorn cookie cutter tutorial. So thank you guys so much for the comments. Put like a little fairy or a heart if you stayed this long to watch this tutorial. Thanks guys, and bye.